Call this meeting to order on November 28, 2017 at 6:34. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have roll call, Monica, please? Here.
Mr. Daly? Mrs. Quintana? Here. Mr. Rolla?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Before we get started tonight, there is a video we would like to show the audience that was televised by Telemundo concerning our turnaround status and our students as they were here to do a newsreel on them. It's in Spanish, so if you want to see what they're talking about, it's been translated over here that you can come and pick up a paper.
And Mr. Rolla, I want to thank you for allowing us to show that video. And for the parents, I hope that most of you understood. And if he would just give me a minute, Mr. Rolla, I just want to explain to some of the parents that maybe were not able to understand it in Spanish. But the gist of the story was that the students come from a background that is primarily minority students, primarily Hispanic in our district. Many of them are on free and reduced lunch. However, despite all those factors and the school being one of the lowest rated schools in the state, they were able to move up to a performance level, which is the highest level that you can attain on a state ranking. How did they do this? The students, every student knew exactly what it took for them to get to the meets on the part test. So by knowing what they had to attain, all this was posted throughout the schools, in the principal's office. The teachers helped. They had this information in their classroom, so the teachers worked with the students. The students knew exactly what they were doing. The families got together, and with everyone working together, they were able to raise the school from a low-performing level to one of the highest-performing levels in the state. So we're very proud of Kearney Middle School, and I just want to thank all the staff, whoever's here from Kearney, and all the teachers in our district for helping us get that positive publicity and continue to help our students. So that was what they were saying in Spanish. It's up here if you want the English version, if you want to take it with you. But thank you so much for showing that video, Mr. Rolla.
Okay, moving on now with the agenda. I need a motion for the approval of the minutes on November 14th, 2017.
Motion to approve the November 14th, 2017 minutes.
Second.
Is there a discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, Monica, please?
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana? Aye. Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to the approval of the agenda. Need a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Is there a discussion? Hearing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Archuleta?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana? Aye. Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Aye.
We will now move on to audience comments. Just a reminder, when we go into audience comments, the speaker or presenter must state your name, You have 3 minutes to speak. All comments need to be district related. Your comments can suggest improvements, but should be provided productive. You can provide written statements to the board for review. The president can recognize a board member or superintendent to respond to the questions to clarify a district position. Usually we do not have seating of speakers, but in this case that we have 5 individuals that want to speak on biliteracy. If you want to have one person come and speak up, and then we'll give you 10 minutes to do your presentation instead of 3. That's up to you. Yes, no? The 5 people that are going to talk on biliteracy? Just 3? Okay, that's fine. What'd you say? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, first person is Jan Carson.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Abrego. My name is Jan Carson. I'm an instructional coach at Adams City Middle School. As always, I am here to speak on behalf of our students. Naturally, my heart is breaking right now for the high school and what my colleagues there are going through, but honestly, unless I can help you understand the impact of the environment on student learning and achievement, that's hardly relevant. Student learning and achievement is our job. But when fear and intimidation from those yielding authority are allowed sway in the learning community, learning shuts down, first in teachers, then by extension in students. According to Dr. Megan Reitz of Ashburn Business School, fear can destroy cognitive powers. So teachers shut down to fear, and I can assure you that whatever experience the teacher is having is the one our students are having as well. Fear of the type running rampant in the high school has no place in education. For that matter, even businesses are rejecting the model of authoritarian control. It gets them none of the creativity and critical thinking necessary for their businesses to thrive. And it will get the students of Adams 14 none of the creativity and critical thinking they need to thrive in this world. To illustrate the point, some of you on the board may remember Teach for Success implementation beginning, I think, in 2010. Teachers were threatened, intimidated, coerced into compliance, especially at the high school level that routinely experienced the most turnover. Anyone who questioned the cure of the day was fired. Critical thinking, no thank you. But here's the deal. Some of those skills we were learning as teachers were actually effective. But not 1 year under the heavy hand of fear did the district show growth. However, in the year that followed that leadership, when the teachers were left to do what they understood to be right by kids without fear and intimidation, the scores in the 2 middle schools that retained their teachers, unlike the high school that was decimated with turnover, exploded. Fear was gone, teachers thrived, and so did their students. A little over a month ago, I left the high school. Not because people were making mistakes. I make plenty of mistakes. But one of the strongest indicators of a successful teacher is his or her ability to reflect. I believe that's true of all of us. To own responsibility and change course. Week after week, I walked into the building not knowing what my job would be or how to effectively plan and prepare long term. And maybe if I'd seen some ownership, I could have seen a vision of what could be. I don't remember what snapped, but I woke up and realized no one's reflecting, no one's owning responsibility. This isn't going to change. And if I didn't leave, take the opportunity to get back to the nurturing of my first family at ACMS, I would lose the heart of what has motivated me for 25 years to get out of bed and do the awesome work of education. I beg you to make no mistake about this. What happens to a teacher happens to his or her student. Thank you.
Gladys Soto. Did I pronounce it right? Or?
Yes, you did.
Gladys, right?
Gladys.
Hello, my name is Gladys Soto, and I'm here as a board member of the Colorado Association for Bilingual Education. I've been in education, bilingual education, for 10 years. The purpose of our association is to support and represent both of the interests of bilingual students and bilingual education professionals who serve them, the teachers. CABE believes in high-quality, culturally and linguistically inclusive education for all students. We advocate for enhancing the development of educational policy and programs that will positively affect learners and communities of linguistically and culturally diverse backgrounds. I am here to speak about the great opportunity the Seal of Biliteracy is for all students and the students of Adams 14. There is a growing concern that bilingual education is lacking in our state of Colorado, or that we don't have the support needed to make sure our bilingual students have the opportunity to graduate from high school with the Seal of Biliteracy. The Seal of Biliteracy was adopted on March 30th of 2017. It has been a huge gain in our state. It gives students the opportunity to have a high school diploma endorsed for biliteracy. The Seal of Biliteracy promotes bilingual pride. We encourage students to be biliterate, and it helps schools promote bilingualism by providing medals and seals. Students and families have greeted the measure with enthusiasm. According to the Colorado Department of Education, we are one of the states with the highest growing number of bilingual students. In recent years, 2011 and 2012, the percentage of bilingual students has grown by 10% or more and is now over 100,000. We believe that with the Seal of Biliteracy, our bilingual students can become high-performing bilinguals instead of struggling to learn English learners or lose or not develop their first language. Our society has a valuable resource in these bilingual students that is not developing. As districts, we should be concerned about serving our bilingual population with quality and appropriate education opportunities. Also, extensive research has proven the benefits of bilingualism. According to Callahan and Gandara, students acquire English in American schools. Bilingualism, especially in bilingual education programs, responds with improved test scores and improve attitudes towards schooling. The Seal of Biliteracy will encourage students to study languages, obtain biliteracy skills, recognize the value of language diversity, and prepare students for the 21st century. With this said, we hope that Adams 14 is on board and believes that our society has a valuable resource in bilingual students. Thank you.
Tanya Hogan.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Hogan, and I am also a board member of CABE, of the Colorado Association for Bilingual Education, and I have been a bilingual educator for the past 18 years. These past few weeks, our organization has heard from parents, teachers, and administrators who are concerned with some of the decisions being made in the district around bilingual education that are focused solely on raising test scores at the expense of bilingual students and teachers. As we on the CABE board uphold our mission of advocating for equitable, asset-based educational policies and programs, we want to remind the board of two of your strategic initiatives: to significantly empower all families and community members to become engaged partners in their child's education by creating welcoming environments district-wide that reflect and support a culturally diverse population, and to intentionally increase and improve communication district-wide, both internally and externally, as well as enhance the resources offered to our current clients and community members. Recently, a decision was made in the district that seems to be at odds with the board's strategic initiatives. The decision to forego face-to-face parent-teacher conferences in favor of an online parent portal is culturally incompatible for those whose cultures place a high value on that personal connection. We do not believe that it is welcoming or a welcoming environment to tell parents that the school will no longer make time for them, but rather they can find the information online. These portals are more often used by the affluent and are a source of inequities. In addition, communication to parents in Spanish is crucial to meaningful parental and community engagement. We know that the students' and parents' rights to this type of comprehensible communication are founded in the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Lau versus Nichols. We must all continue to be vigilant, for we cannot ignore the civil rights of our students. We have 40 years of research and data that prove bilingual education works. We are asking that this board carefully monitor the practices and policies of all district schools and administrative leadership to ensure that the biliteracy programs that have just begun continue to receive the support that is needed to ensure that the Adams 14 emerging bilingual students are not disadvantaged in a misguided belief that English-only instruction is the best way for them or their families. As more issues are made public and the Adams 14 board becomes aware of what is happening internally, we will make further public comments. We also want to let the Adams 14 community of students, parents, teachers, and administrators know that your voices are being heard, and we will not let what happened in 2009 happen again. Thank you.
Sandra, and I'm going to butcher up your name, and I'm sorry. Vochivis?
Filarsky. I'll say it again for you. Mr. Rolla, esteemed members of the school board, and Dr. Abrego, my name is Sandra Filarsky from the Bueno Center at CU Boulder. I am the principal investigator and director of the Literacy Squared project in Adams 14. I have been working with administrators and teachers in your district since 2015. I come to the board with a concern and a request. There is an overwhelming amount of empirical research demonstrating increased English language proficiency and long-term academic benefits for English learners, or who we call emerging bilingual students, in bilingual and biliteracy programs compared to English-only programs. I am concerned that the biliteracy programming being implemented in schools in grades pre-kindergarten through 12th grade as part of the agreement Adams 14 made with the Office for Civil Rights is being compromised without teacher, parent, or university partner input. We know that at one elementary school, the time for Spanish literacy has been reduced from 2 hours to just 1. We believe in data-driven decision-making, and we are accountable to our clients, the emerging bilingual children we serve. We recently completed the technical report for our second year of implementation of biliteracy programming in Adams 14, and am pleased to report that the children in the biliteracy research study are progressing in their Spanish and English reading, writing, and language development. In fact, students made a year's worth of growth in their Spanish and English reading from spring 2016 to spring 2017. Using STAR English reading data from spring 2017, we also found that students in the biliteracy classrooms are scoring comparably or slightly better than their ELL counterparts in English-only classrooms. In some cases, the students in the biliteracy classrooms are scoring comparably to non-ELLs using the same STAR data. These results are promising, especially considering that the greatest academic advantages of biliteracy are most apparent with prolonged exposure. Keep in mind that cutting Spanish literacy instruction time may compromise their growth. With data to support the academic gains students in the biliteracy classrooms are making, we hope the district will make decisions based on empirical research and from the results of the project. I request to be part of the agenda at the next board meeting on December 12th to share the progress of the students in the biliteracy program. It is not just the children's right to have access to bilingual programming, but we have data to support that it is effective. Thank you.
Lisette Zamora.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisette Zamora, and I'm a recent graduate from Adams City High School. I am now a first-year student at the University of Denver. I'm just here to talk a little bit about my experience as an English as a bilingual student, and how the CO biliteracy has benefited my own education throughout my college experience. I recently just finished my first quarter at the University of Denver, and I'd like to think that that the CO biliteracy helped me a lot. I decided to pursue media studies in Spanish because of, I started to like Spanish a lot. And it just speaking it and graduating with the CO biliteracy really did motivate me. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience. So the University of Denver has been a great experience so far. I have learned a lot, but it's also been a huge culture shock. I come from a community. I came from Adams City High School, a community that's densely Hispanic, and I went to a new community where the population is mostly white. So going there was a huge culture shock, and I got a lot of backlash for being from Adams City, from being from Adams 14 in general. At the beginning of the quarter, a lot of students would ask me where I'm from, and I would say Adams City, and a lot of people would be like, well, how'd you get out of there? And that was a huge opening. That was a huge wake-up call. And it's something that I didn't realize, that, that Adams 14 in general doesn't have the greatest of reputations out there. But the CO biliteracy, having that on my diploma has really helped me a lot in getting that advantage over other students. For one, I'm bilingual. Second, I'm able to keep going through my major, and I'm able to take a step further in majoring in Spanish than other students who don't speak Spanish. I just finished my quarter, and I was taking some Spanish classes, higher level classes that most students take when they're junior in college. But because I already know Spanish, and because I took classes in high school, AP, I was able to do those classes, and because of those, I got really good grades in there. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that experience, and just know that the CO biliteracy, keeping biliteracy within the district is really important, and it's very beneficial. And I think that just having that will continue to help me throughout my 4 years of college. So thank you very much.
Jorge Garcia.
Mr. President, members of the board, my name is Jorge Garcia. William Harris, in supporting bilingual education, said, quote, "National memories and aspirations, family traditions, customs and habits, moral and religious observances cannot be suddenly removed or changed without disastrously weakening the personality," end quote. Harris was a former superintendent of the St. Louis schools and U.S. Commissioner of Education. He's also the founder of kindergarten. And he founded kindergarten in the 1870s. And it began as German language instruction for German-speaking children. His admonishment rings as true today with Spanish-speaking children in Commerce City as it did with German-speaking children in St. Louis almost 150 years ago. California, Massachusetts, and Arizona some 20 years ago instituted English-only instruction. Today, all other states, with the exception of Arizona, have abandoned that approach. Why? Because it did not work. They were, and Arizona remains, and continues to be at the bottom nationwide for achievement of emerging bilingual students because of their misguided, failed English-only approach. Colorado voters refused as a state to adopt such a draconian approach, and the districts in Colorado that are seeing the biggest growth with emerging bilingual students are those that are increasing native language instruction in their districts, not decreasing it, including Denver Public Schools. So I ask you to beware of those who say say that they don't, quote, believe in bilingual education, because they are substituting their own biases for the facts and the science and the research that we know to be true. And it's not just the research from Bueno Center. A Rand Corporation research study reported last week found that English language learners assigned to dual language immersion classrooms were more likely to be classified as English proficient by 6th grade when compared to peers enrolled in traditional classes. Dual language students significantly outperformed their English learning peers who were in English-only instruction on English reading tests by nearly a school year worth of learning by the end of middle school. So research continues to fly in the face of biased beliefs. So we ask you to please pay attention to policies and practices that should be monitored in this district. And they include the use by Spanish teachers of students, the use of Spanish by teachers and students should not be outlawed as a policy. Requiring the use of English-only curricula and resources, such as beyond textbooks, for students in biliteracy programs should not be a policy. Failure to use state-approved assessments in Spanish and disregarding the results of Spanish language assessment should not be a policy. Taking funds from biliteracy and putting them... I have one more sentence. May I finish?
Time's up.
Go ahead. Thank you. Taking funds away from biliteracy and putting them into programs that do not have a Spanish component should not be a policy. And finally, disregard for the agreements made with the Office for Civil Rights should not be a policy. Thank you for listening.
Kristen Gilmore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I start, I wanted to give you all a compliment as a board for observing Veterans Day on our district calendar. I currently serve in the Colorado National Guard, and my mom, she's a teacher in DPS and APS. She's been in both, and she has told me that in the past 15 years, she's never had a day off of school to observe Veterans Day. So I just want to say thank you to the district for putting that in our calendar, for observing Veterans Day, for all of the people that have served and currently serving. So thank you. My name is Kristen Gilmore. I don't live in the district, but I am a teacher at Kearney Middle School. I wanted to present about archery. To give you a little background, in 2012, by the way, what I gave you is a kind of a summary of what I'm going to talk about, but in 2012, I got a certification through the Colorado Parks and Wildlife. It's basic archery instructor is the certification. Through Colorado Parks and Wildlife, I was able to get a grant. They funded half of it, and then the Kearney Middle School PTO funded the other half, and we got $3,300 worth of equipment at Kearney. It took about 6 months for that to get established at Kearney to build the range, and we'll get to the next slide, but there will be pictures so you can see what it looks like. And so with that equipment, I was able to start teaching archery in PE. So all 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, boys and girls that go through PE, get the experience of archery. They learn about the equipment, a little bit of the history, definitely the safety, and we go through a lot of skill building and do some fun games. I had a lot of students in 2000. Oh, my years are off. I just realized that. That was supposed to be 2015. In 2016, a lot of kids asked, can archery be an after-school club? Every time kids ask me to start something, I do it. So I started an archery club, and it's just picked up from there. This school year, I decided to not only have it for Kearney kids, I opened it up to the entire district. And we meet every Wednesday. By the way, if anyone in here is listening and wants to join, any Adams 14 student can join. It's free. They don't have to register. They can just show up, and I teach the basics. We review all the skills. We review safety. It's from 4:30 to 6 every Wednesday. I average about 50 kids every time. 20 of them, give or take, are from the elementary schools. Kemp, Alsop, and Rose Hill are great supporters. They send kids all the time. And I'm just really proud that it's growing as a district. If you can, let's show some pictures. Hopefully. Aha. This just gives you a good visual of what archery looks like. In the top left, that's our archery range. We've got a curtain, 5 targets. You can tell that the 2 kids are using their simple compound bows, not quite what a hunter would use. We have aluminum arrows, and we always talk about safety. There are all sorts of safety commands that I use. It's very structured, it's very safe, and the kids just absolutely love it. I do want to say I had a proud moment. I had a dad call me today, ask me, how can I go out and buy a bow for his daughter, because she's from Kemp, a 4th grader. She's attended my archery club. She attended my archery club, and she's super excited to continue it. And so her dad went out to Bass Pro, bought her a bow today, and she's going to get to use her own bow at my archery range every Wednesday. She's just looking forward to it. So I just want to say we've got some awesome things going on in the district, and it's going to continue. And the last thing I want to say, you all are invited December 20th. Thank you. December 20th, it's a Wednesday, from 4:30 to 7 is our family archery night. I do provide light snacks and drinks. And anyone in the district is more than welcome to come, board members, anyone from other schools, whether it be teachers, admin, parents, kids. And it's just a fun family night. We do this once a month. All right, thank you. And by the way, Rose Hill is getting an archery program too. I totally forgot. Dan Sullivan from Rose Hill, he is starting. Sorry.
Just a reminder, all questions that were brought in front of the board today will be answered in 2 weeks. So at that time, yeah. Can't hear. What'd you say?
Can I get up and say something?
Or
It's pertaining to the subjects that you were talking about. I didn't know you were going to ask.
you're not going to succeed your 3 minutes, are you, Gidmo?
No, just 3 minutes.
All right. I'll hold you to that.
Guillermo Serna, 14122 East 102nd Place, Commerce City, Colorado, 80022. I hear and I see a video, and it's celebrating half of the population of the 2 middle schools. One is being successful, the other one, we don't know where they're at. But we're accepting less than 50%, okay, and in between 35 and 44% of growth, when the nation should be at 75 to 100. We are already having 50% non-graduates or dropouts or whatever, literacy or whatever, if this continues. Because when they meet at the high school, you're going to have that. but yet we celebrate it. The program and the continuum of parents participating in this district is very important. That was set. You have two different types of students. You have fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh generation. You got first generation. Fourth, fifth, and sixth generation constitutes less than a third of the total Hispanic population here. Yet you're only giving service to the third. They're going to be successful. They've been here. They've been assimilated. The ones you have to worry about are the kids that need that assistance to bring this district up. Now, I know that we have a new board coming in, but I want to remind them that they have to worry about the kids and the whole district, not just one group. If you're going to celebrate, then celebrate both schools. We only have one high school, and they all have to be together. Bilingual education existed here before the lawsuit, and it should exist after. The parents demanded that, and the parents went out. Teachers, administrators went out and said this was not right. Yet we are dividing the community now. You're not going to get what you want if you keep dividing that population, okay, instead of looking at assimilating the whole district into being good students, into wanting to participate and graduate and go into further education. Don't listen just to one area. Pilot programs are a dime a dozen. So that's all I have to say, and you need to get it right.